All right, now that we have imported datetime module to this program, it's time to start using it, because if we do not use it, notice our Replit gives us a soft warning with this orange line. It's telling you that, hey, look, you asked me to import this, but you don't seem to be using it. Well, certainly we will use it. In fact, we'll use it in a very interesting manner. We will use this to create what is called a datetime object. Now, this is just one line of code, but it has in fact a lot of capability. Let's see, let's just do it. Now notice here, I'm doing it after I have received all the inputs from the user, which is year, month and day, because in creation of this object, I'm going to require these as inputs. So what I do here is that I say date, birth is equal to dt dot date time. And now I say year, month and day. Let's look at this very carefully, very slowly in a step-by-step manner. First thing first, recall that we had used datetime, we had imported datetime as dt, which means that yes, we have capability to use all functions of datetime, but we will refer to them as dt dot that function. I mean, this dt could have been something else. It could have been any other name, but then we'd have to call it that name dot datetime. And if we did not do this part at all, then it would have to be datetime dot datetime. Now, what is exactly the second date time? Well, this is a function inside this module. Do not get confused by the name. One refers to the name of the module, one refers to the function. Now, this function is very special. It takes in these inputs, year, month, and day, which the user has provided, and it creates for us an object called date, a date birth, which you're naming as date birth. Now, this will look confusing. I can imagine that very well, but nothing to get worried. Once you write this, let's run this code and see what goes on, right? So the user, it asks us which year were you born in. So I say, let's say, oops, not this. I say, let's say 1987, say April, and say 12th April. Now code ran, if it runs this way, it means everything ran well, but I can just check what is date birth. Now, if you see this, what has happened basically, it says datetime dot datetime. Now, again, first one, remember, is the module name. Second is the name of the kind of object it is. But more interestingly and more clearly, what comes out is that it has created a date for us, which is year 1987, month April 4, day 12th, and these two are 00 because we did not tell it the time of birth. In fact, we could have written this code by asking more questions and creating a date time object which also had the time information. So now the point is, why did we do all this? What exactly is this buying us? Let's just see a few examples, right? Let's say, as I told you, let's say our user tries to act smart. It tells us that, I was born in 1987, all right, and I was born in the 13th month, right? Now the user is trying to act smart. I asked which day of the month, because this part of the code is very innocent. It's just trying to just take in the inputs. User says maybe I was born on, say, 12th day. So user is being smart here. But notice what will happen is our date time object will immediately cause this, because we are telling this guy, hey, look, I want you to create a date which is 1987 year, 13th month and 12th day. Now this guy tells me, hey, look, there is no such month. Month must be within 1 to 12. So, right away it caught this error. It prevented user from trying to act extra smart. Let's take one more example. Let's say I come in here and I say, okay, look, which year were you born in? I was born in 1977. Now I try to act smart in a different way. I say, okay, look, I was born in February, on 29th of February. Now this happens only when there was it was a leap year. It turns out 1977 was not a leap year. Hence, it figures out date is out of range for the month given. So now notice how much computation has gone on here, right? It has figured out that this is not a leap year. It has figured out that given it's not a leap year, then February cannot have 29 days, and so on and so forth. That's why I said this statement here is actually extremely powerful. If we did not have this, then we have to do all this computation ourselves, and it's prone to errors. It's just way too much logic. That's why we are pulling in this capability from outside. We are creating kind of like a date here, which we will use a little later. Try not to get bogged down by this syntax, by these terms. Keep moving forward, because a lot of these things will make sense to you as you do more programming. Before I leave, end this video, however, I do want to tell you that our user can still act smart in a different way. For example, user tells me that I was born in 2035. 2035 is year in future. And let's say on 12th, on say in December, on let's say 12th of December. Now, definitely our innocent program as yet will allow that, because it will think that date of birth is indeed a valid date, which is 12 December 2035. We have not yet told it that, okay, look, if this date is in future, you must not allow it. But that's an interesting enhancement. Take care. Thank you so much. Bye bye.